Yes, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, losing in the championship always is difficult, but I'm really proud of the kids. Obviously we got down early. Just, they did a good job of just making us pay for some mistakes and got some big hits. And, but just like we've been all year, our dugout energy was great. Like, I never felt like we quit. Like, we could have laid down and just been done with it after the second inning, and we just fought like crazy. And unfortunately, we just ran out of time. We had a chance with the tying run at second base, but we had a lot of chances all game. We just couldn't capitalize. We left too many guys on base. We out hit them, but they just got the big hits, and we weren't able to come up with enough of them, and turn some of those 1-run innings into 3-run innings, and again we had a chance to second and third, nobody out, when we scored 1 run. Just situations like that we just couldn't get it done. So proud of the bullpen. They did a great job, especially Zach Bennett and Nick Vieira, 2 freshmen coming in and pitching like they did. They were awesome, and hopefully the experience that we need, to do it again in the future. Obviously, Freeland had a great game and did some great things and big hits, and we just didn't have enough of them, and difficult. A lot of guys' last games here. Obviously Rathbone and Jones, and most likely Pena and Crouch, but they played their tails off. They never quit, and I'm really proud of them. We could have rolled over and died in March or April, and just more bad things kept happening, and even this week, and we just kept showing up. Jordan Rathbone, dislocates a pinky in April and breaks his thumb in May, and never misses a game and just continues to play through that stuff. Like, we did it all year. We just kept showing up to practice, and the players kept showing up and putting work in, and that's how you play your best baseball at the end of the year. We did that. You'd like to finish it off with the championship, but it just wasn't in the cards. And but a good life lesson for these kids to learn that even when things don't go your way, or you feel like the deck is stacked against you, you just show up every day. The sun keeps rising. You just keep putting in the work and just keep trying to make the most out of every day. And good things happen to people that do that. So hopefully this will be something that, as they move on to the rest of their lives, that they'll remember. And the guys that are coming back, just remember the struggles that we went through, remember the hardships, but also remember that when you put good work in, that good things can happen. And we learned how to win. We learned how to fight. We learned how to come back. We learned how to compete. Just took us longer than I wanted to, but we learned it. And hopefully that translates into going into next season and to the fall, and we continue to grow on that. And we're better for it next season.
Coach, you talked about some guys are probably playing their final games, but you've got some pieces to build on for the future. When you look at guys like Alex Freeland, what he did all year, and Hunter Patterson, how he stepped up late in the year and kind of maybe gives you that number 1 starter in years forward. Just kind of talk about how excited you are about some of the youth on this team.
Yeah, it's, obviously last year curtailed some things, but the plan is coming along. Obviously in the recruiting world in college baseball, these kids are committing as freshmen and sophomores. So when we first got here, the Pablos, the Hunters, those guys were really the first real recruiting class. We had some sprinkled guys in, freshmen or whatnot, but we had a lot of transfers and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to get to that class, and now we're starting to back those classes up with some really good players, Alex, John Montez. So you're just starting to build those classes on top of classes, which is, if you want to be a great team that's consistent and shows up every year, you gotta have the guys that are in your system for several years, and then be able to back those up with younger guys that continue to just kind of move the train along. And as guys leave, there's guys behind them. And so you're starting to see that a lot more than what we've had in the past. And obviously a lot of great players. We believe in this recruiting class that's coming in. So we're starting to build the depth and the talent that we need in order for us to be, the type of program that we want to be. And, and again, we've shown glimpses of that. We just got to get over the hump. But, obviously last year we felt like that we were making a huge stride forward. And so, but again, this is a much better job of competing. I would have loved to seen this team compete at full strength and not have some of the issues that we had. But again, that's just part of the game and part of life, and you got to be able to overcome them. And again, I thought we did a great job of doing that and getting here to the end.
Coach, you said last week in the Houston series after A.J. Jones pitched in relief that when he started, he could sometimes get into his own head, and that's what caused him to have a bit of an inconsistent season. Did that happen with him again today?
Yeah, it was tough. I thought he looked really good. I mean, obviously he struck the side out in the first, just, missed a spot on that one home run. And, I just thought he was rolling, and I just thought he got punched in the face. And, and then some bad things. I mean, just some unlucky plays, obviously not knowing the outs, things like that just kind of snowballed for him. And, we just couldn't make enough plays, and they did a great job of being able to put good swings on some balls and find some holes. So, just feel bad that again, that just couldn't get through. I just felt like the team, we just needed to settle down through those first couple innings and get back into our groove and just, obviously excited and jacked up about playing in this game. So we just needed to settle in and we did. It just would have liked to not spot them 6 runs before we did that.
Coach, what was this last day and a half like for you guys? Obviously, you got to play 2 tough games against a good ECU team, then come out here in the heat and play a good USF team. Do you think all that kind of started off the slow start for you guys?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's the weeks of grind, right? It's just a lot of baseball. Obviously with just again with injuries and stuff. Yesterday just kind of depleted the bullpen. And again, I thought the guys did a good job. Obviously we were hoping that we win that first game and Hunter would start today, but we weren't able to close the deal. So, it's the same for every team. We both had to play 2 games yesterday. To be honest with you, we had the advantage because they didn't get done playing until 12:30 last night, and they had to turn around and be here, by 10 o'clock this morning. So, we had the advantage of just, I think, the championship game and who settles down or who gets the big hit first and kind of gets it going, and then the game kind of will settle in. And they just were able to throw the first punch and get that 2-run homer. And, and then the second inning just didn't go very well. And, we settled in after that and competed and fought back. And, they just were able to answer. The 2 times we scored 1 run and had some momentum, they answered and got a run back. And, and again, but we had some opportunities, bases loaded. We just couldn't get the job done. Second and third, we couldn't get the job done. So we had the chances. They just were able to capitalize on theirs. When they had those opportunities and put up some crooked numbers and obviously got a big 2-out hit. So we just weren't able to do enough of it. So I don't feel like the week or the heat or any of that really had anything to do with it. It was the same for both teams.
Coach, what about Bennett and what he was able to do and give you 3 really solid innings to put you in position to potentially, make a comeback?
Yeah, and he was gross. His stuff was awesome. It was awesome to see him be that good. Again, seeing him grow over the year. Again, typical freshman and just kind of roll a bit of a roller coaster. But to see him finish on a high note like that, and hopefully that breeds some confidence for him going into summer ball and then into the fall, into next year. But again, we talked about those pieces. Excitement for the young guys and the growth, but him and Vespi and Vieira, I thought threw well. But those 3 guys on the mound would come with Hunter back, you see if Flitch Kit's back here and all that kind of stuff. So, it's the future's bright, and proud of those young guys for playing so well this week.
Coach, both UCF actually had a more hits than USF today, but looking at the stats, USF had the advantage in terms of 2-out hits. They had a .462 average on 2-out hits, while UCF had a .273. Can you just talk about those 2-out situations on offense and what was happening with the team there today?
Yeah, we just didn't get the big hits. We left 12 guys on base, again, we just didn't do enough. This game comes down to usually who can score with 2 outs, who can get those big hits, and who can take advantage of runners on base. And they just did a really good job of that early in the game. We did a much better job of managing it, 3 double plays and things like that later on. But we just couldn't get out of that second inning, and they got a bunch of 2-out hits, and another one late in the game that ends up being the winning run. They just were able to keep extending the lead and keep answering. And every time we got some momentum going back, they were just able to answer. And it just again, our guys never quit. It just kept making it a little bit harder and a little bit more out of reach. And obviously the one run ends up being the difference maker.
Zach, do you have a question?
Coach, obviously I know you'd rather be playing next week and everything, but as you look to the summer, are you expecting a normal summer in terms of recruiting? I saw the tweet about the camps. Are you having camps this summer? Are you kind of looking forward to that? Maybe a sense of normalcy coming back this summer?
Yeah, I mean, just excited to get back on the road. We're getting a dead period for college baseball for the regional week. So unfortunately, June 1st starts recruiting, but baseball, our recruiting calendar, we can't go out till the 8th. So we'll just kind of tie up some loose ends, kind of get the kids on their way back out to wherever they're going. Help some guys get prepared for the draft and those types of things. And then, spend some time with a couple days with the family, and then we got to get back on the road. It's been a weird, 15 months of watching, live stream games and doing all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's some kids that are, committed that we've never even met or seen in person. So it'd be good to get back on the road and really just continue to build these recruiting classes that we're stacking on top of each other. And, going to be an interesting summer with the transfer portal and dealing with all that and seeing where that goes. And, so it's going to be an interesting week. Obviously I think now that most teams are finishing up, there's already, 1,400 kids in the portal, and it's about to get hammered, I think, and we'll be scrambling like everybody else and figuring out, who can help us and how to finish up their class for next year. And it'll be fun. Get back on the road and find some future nights that want to continue to build on what we did this year.
Coach, what does it mean?
I'm excited about the little kids. Get the little kids back on campus and, hopefully teach them some things about baseball and hopefully, we're Orlando's hometown team. All these local kids, we want to end up being future knights. So hopefully we'll get them on campus and have them run around and fall in love with our program and grow up wanting to be a part of wear our jersey.
Coach, what does it mean to you to have a normal off season? Because I know with last season having ended the way it did, what does it mean to you to now go into this off season, with the pandemic being less of a hindrance?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be good to get back to normal. Just the development of the kids just took a huge hit. Obviously, you saw, with just so many young players, every at bat you get is an opportunity to get better. And so, and then being around each other, I just thought our team grew as the season went along. They grew as a family, and we just weren't able to do that early on. And so having young guys and having that belief in each other and the trust of each other, that was just all taken away. But also the idea of toughness. We just unable to build that in the off season. And it came with the struggles and the things that went wrong and with injuries and just some bad luck and all that kind of stuff. And we grew that toughness and built that toughness over the course of the season. Every year you're going to build toughness during the season, but you want to have a great foundation and have a starting point that's a lot farther ahead than where we were at, especially for a younger team. So it'll be nice to get back and get the kids out in some competitive summer ball leagues and get those at bats and the growth there and build on what they've done so far, and then be able to come back in the fall and continue to build off of that and then take that into the season. So just excited to continue to grow and develop and, build the relationships that between the coaching staff and the players between themselves that just we're unable to do, in a pandemic.
Coach, I know it's a little ways off, but what kind of impact do you expect from the MLB draft? Are you expecting a few guys to maybe get drafted, or who are some of the players to watch in the next couple of months as far as that goes?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Josh Crouch has just had an unbelievable. And again, you talk about the growth. I mean, as from a high school third baseman to going to a junior college to turning into a catcher, and then just losing that development last year. Just the trials and the tribulations of failure and at bats and learning how to handle it. Like, there's nobody that's made a bigger jump on our team than he has during the course of the year. From every angle in terms of defense, leadership, just like commanding the position, and then offensively. And his, I think he hit over 350 in conference, hit most of 75% of his home runs, I think, after the second half of the year. And obviously the last 3 weeks, he's been just absolutely on fire. And I think just showing everybody, what kind of player he is, kind of player he's become. So I assume he'll get drafted pretty well. Jeffrey Pena, just the athleticism, the defensiveness, he could play defense in the big leagues right now. You know what I mean? Obviously he's got to get stronger and become a better hitter and cut down the strikeouts and do those kind of things. But guys like that in terms of the athleticism and the makeup, especially the makeup is through the charts, but to have those kind of guys, they just don't grow on trees. So I assume he'll get a shot. I hope Jordan Rathbone and just what he's done this year and in this league and putting up the numbers that he has, I hope that he gets an opportunity. Jack and Hunter are both have a shot. I think obviously Jack being older and just his age and stuff, I think he'll get an opportunity. Somebody's going to take him just because of the size and stuff. At least I hope they do. Hunter obviously being a draft eligible sophomore, I think that if he comes back and does what he's done the last couple of weeks and the last month of the season, he does that during the full course of the year, like he's got a chance to be a really, really high draft pick. So I know that he understands that, but he'll have to make that decision with his family, but that'll be somebody that we need to obviously keep our eye on and kind of just watch, and we'll see what happens. And I think Colton still, even though he had Tommy John surgery, I still think somebody's going to give him a chance. He had really worked his way up into the top, 6 rounds or so. And the way the draft works, I mean, they're going to look for discount guys, and obviously he's going to have to take a discount. But I know he wants to sign and wants to continue his career at the professional level and rehab with a team. So I assume somebody will take him probably. I think he'll go in the top 10 rounds and, sign for less than slot and save some money for a team, just the way they all do it, going with seniors and all that kind of stuff. But I think he'll go as well. So we can have a lot of guys get picked up now, which is good. Just good for our program and just good reward for those kids of working hard and chasing their dreams. And obviously that's what every kid wants when they come here for the most part, that they want to get to the next level. And it's awesome to see that we're developing guys that are going to get opportunities. So hopefully we have more than we think. And, obviously I think of those group, probably 75% or more of those will get an opportunity.
Coach, you talked a lot this season about how the bullpen was pressured a lot because of the starters' inability to go further into the game. How are you looking to address that this offseason?
We just need to develop the guys that are going to be here, and we need to recruit guys that can come in and help us. I mean, we got to get better on the mound, but I got to sit down and evaluate just our roster, and obviously with the draft and who's coming back and all that kind of stuff, and try to figure all that out. And then we just got to get to work. One in the transfer portal, we got some young guys, freshmen coming in that I'm really, really excited about, that I think can make some more immediate impacts. And then we gotta keep developing, the young guys that we have, just to have more depth. And we gotta try to stay healthy. Obviously, losing Colton was huge. Obviously, losing Kenny early in the year was huge. We got to get deeper in the games, obviously losing Hunsaker this week really hurt us, just with the depth. So we got to get healthy. We got to try to provide more depth through development and through recruiting, just like we always do. So we'll get to work on that and figure out a way to be better.
Coach, we haven't seen really the impact of the transfer portal in baseball yet because, last summer was a weird summer. How big of an impact do you think that's going to be? Do you think that you'll see a lot of player movement?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a circus. I think this was not a great idea. I think, and again, I'm preaching to the choir here, but, I just felt like there should have been a, my idea was that we should have, I think I've told you this, Brandon, but we should have put them in pods, like the top, like 5-year rolling RPI or 4-year rolling RPI. And whatever the number is it's 10, a group of 10s, a group of 20s, group of 25s, group of 50s, that you can go down. I mean, it's not fair for a kid to be the backup and all that in his career. If you're the backup to Josh Crouch and you're the same age, like you're never playing and now your baseball career is over. So there should be ways for people to be able to move and find better situations, whether it's financially or whatnot, but you also don't want to become minor leagues for anybody. And that's what this is going to end up being is, there's kids who are going to be unhappy or they're going to feel like they can go to bigger and better or like we feel like, schools at our level are going to be a feeder program for the Power Fives and teams below us in Division II and smaller D1s are going to be a feeder for teams like, in our league. Like, and it's just going to be mass chaos, I think, especially this first year. I think after the first year, kids will realize because there's only going to be so many spots and there's going to be so many people in the transfer portal that when musical chairs stops, there's going to be a lot of kids that thought they were putting themselves in better situations or whatnot, and it's not going to be that way. And I think that's going to maybe halt some things for next year. But I think the next 3 weeks are going to be absolute mad chaos in the college baseball world. And all the coaches have been fearful of this as we knew this was coming, for the last year and a half or whatever. We used to have this back in the Wild Wild West where, summer leagues were being recruited. I mean, head coaches and whatnot were watching their players play summer baseball when they really weren't. And they were just there to see who they could poach. And I think that's what it's going to end up being again. And we always called it the Wild Wild West. And we were so thankful when that stopped. But we're back to it. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully there's no fist fights out on the recruiting trail.
Coach, you talked yesterday about how the American is a conference that gets pooped on and that, and just about the league being better than some other people perceive it. What do you see that league being next season and what UCF's place in that will be?
I mean, you just never know in our league. It's so hard to predict between just recruiting and growth. You just never know what's going to happen. Obviously, we're really happy with the pieces that we have. We're happy about the recruits that we have in. But again, like you got to develop the kids and they got to get better and we got to be better next year. And whether that's through the recruiting or whether that's through through like the transfer portal, developing our guys, all the young guys coming in. But you really have no idea. I mean, you get a couple answers when the draft comes and who's losing guys, and obviously when the transfer portal in the next couple of days, like who's losing guys for that. But I mean, you look at Jasiak for South Florida. I mean, he's a redshirt freshman, so he was here last year. He just had okay numbers, and he's done a great job of getting better all year and turned into a really, really like dominant pitcher. Robert Gasser at Houston, like nobody ever knew who that guy was, and going to be a first rounder probably, or late first rounder or early second rounder. So it's just, you just never know who's going to develop, who's going to not. Like, there's going to be a lot more game film on young guys. So the coaching starts to come into that. So you never know in this league. We got voted to come in last my first year. We came in first. Like we voted to come in second this year. We tied for fourth. Like there's just so much movement every year. And in terms of players and coaching and recruiting and who hits on a guy and who doesn't, you just can't predict all that. So I just know the league's going to be tough. I know that every year. Who's going to be the best team? And again, you see it. We're always bunched up pretty good. Where you could be in second or first or coming fifth or sixth, like that. It's just about who wins those close games, who gets the big hits, who's able to get the big outs and execute pitches. So our league will be a bear again, no doubt in my mind. So we got to get better and get to work and find a way to move the program again, move it forward, and keep the growth process going.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.